Good morning and welcome to Hope, Faith, and Joy Daily Devotion with me, Pastor Amanda. Today we are looking at chapter 38 of Exodus, and we're continuing our list of what's being accomplished by the people of God. And so today, one of the first things that we talk about being accomplished is the altar of burnt offerings. So it kind of looks something like this and everything. And so we find that this has been accomplished within the work that is being done, followed by the courtyard for the tabernacle. And so you can see the kind of the outside area that it took a lot of work to create all of that. And then finally, we also have the tabernacle itself that is being created here. And you can see the many layers that it took to make this out of all the fine linens that they had and everything. And so really we're having an accounting of all that is there. A little insert that's kind of interesting in this is that in verse 21, it begins to tell us that what happens within the tabernacle. So the activities that happen in the tabernacle were given by Moses to Ithamar, son of the priest Aaron. And so I find that interesting when you think about this. So Moses is the one in charge. And so he kind of lays out a plan of what needs to happen. And technically, Aaron is the head priest. But as the head priest, he really needs to be overseeing the priestly activities. So it takes someone else to actually be the coordinator of all of those activities. And so that goes to his son, Ithamar. And I think this is really important to recognize in here. Like Moses, he helps put together vision and direction. Aaron is the one who makes sure it gets done. But the coordinator is, there's this other person that's really needed and involved. And I just think about ministry. How many pastors, at least in my context of small church, end up having to do all three of these roles? And then you wonder why a pastor burns out. Or think about it this way, even a lot of times we'll put someone in charge of education in our churches. And so this person is then responsible for setting a vision for adult education, teen education, and children's education. And then usually the people then start expecting them to have to do it all and coordinate it all. And then all of a sudden we no longer have an education director in our small churches. And so I think it's important for folks to remember, especially when we're in settings with fewer people, that we do need to find ways to pick up, so to speak, the responsibilities and not place it all on one person, because it doesn't work very well. And our scripture sets up a very different model. The model is different for how we are to do ministry together. There are the vision setters, there are the people who actually do it, and there's the people who coordinate it. Are actually different roles and gifts and talents. And so I really kind of caught on to that today. But I also think it's a reminder too that the stewardship of our resources again is brought up and really gone. The gold and the silver and were extremely. They counted every piece of it and they knew what they had and they knew what they used. And this is important for the community to trust their leaders that what they're giving to is being used the way they thought it would be and that it was being used appropriately. And even here in the wilderness, and you can just bring that all the way to today, this is what a community of faith is looking for. People want to be able to give their resources, and they also want to know that they're being used the way their expectations are being fulfilled, and how it's going to be used. And so I think that's really interesting that we see that. We see the accounting of that within our scripture, and that means it's important. It's definitely important for people to see that. And so, yeah, that is actually chapter 38 today. It is recognizing roles and responsibilities, and again, stewardship of our resources. And I just like to encourage you to consider your faith communities and begin to just look at what roles are people fulfilling, and maybe are people filling too many roles where it should be divided up among more people, and how could you either help that process or be a part of that process, and encourage you to help create this sacred space. And I know there's probably a lot more glitches along the way, but I think it's important for us to be aware and then begin to take the steps to create a healthy worship experience for all persons, and inviting all persons to be a part of that ministry in their unique ways. And so I appreciate you joining me today with a Hope, Faith, and Joy daily devotion, and I'll see you tomorrow.